"Sir, I'm going to need you to step aside." The words hit like a slap. John Brady blinked, trying to register the agent's cold stare. Behind him, the slow hum of luggage belts and boarding calls filled the terminal, but everything narrowed to this one moment. TSA agent Marcus folded his arms, posture rigid, voice clipped. I'm just waiting for my brother," John stammered, his eyes darting to the gate screen. Delayed. Flight 2437 to Tampa. Of course it was. Marcus didn't budge. "Sir, you've been standing here for over an hour. You're not flying. You don't have a boarding pass. You're making people uncomfortable." "I'm not doing anything," John said, raising his hands. "I'm just standing here." People began to watch now. The woman from the Hudson News kiosk glanced up from her magazine rack. A teenager nearby took out his phone. John felt his face flush. "You're causing a scene, sir," Marcus said. "Let's go." John's heart thudded. He wasn't dressed like anyone important. Cargo shorts, a faded Patriots hoodie, and sandals. He knew how he looked. But he had a reason to be there. Tom had told him to wait at gate C14. He said he'd come get him after his meeting. "Please," John said, voice low now, trying not to look desperate. "My brother's on his way. Just give me a few minutes. He said he'd meet me here. I can't leave." Marcus nodded to another agent, a younger guy with a buzz cut who looked far too eager. "Escort him to the exit. He can wait outside security like everyone else." The younger guard approached, and for a second John panicked. He took a step back, bumping into a rolling suitcase. "Hey, watch it, man," someone muttered. John turned to explain, but the guard grabbed his arm. "Let's go." "Don't touch me!" John jerked his arm away. A low gasp rose from the people nearby. "Now you're resisting?" Marcus said. "Do you want us to call airport police?" "I'm not resisting, John's voice cracked. "I just want to wait for my brother." The guard didn't care. He was already walking forward, nudging John with his shoulder. Humiliation churned in John's stomach. He felt like a kid being dragged out of class in front of everyone. He wanted to yell, to fight back, but he couldn't. Because who would believe him? Who would believe that the man being kicked out of the terminal was the brother of Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback in NFL history? No one ever did. They exited the terminal, past passengers staring with curious, half-sympathetic looks, past a janitor who paused mid-mop, past a kid who whispered, "That guy's crazy," and finally, through the sliding doors, out into the sticky Boston humidity. The air hit like a wall. John stood there, blinking in disbelief, as the agents turned and walked back inside. He checked his phone. No messages, no missed calls, just silence. His thumb hovered over Tom's contact photo, one of the few times they'd been photographed together after a game in Foxborough years ago. John hadn't changed it. Probably never would. He tapped call. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. John looked up at the grey sky. A plane thundered overhead. He sat down on the curb outside Terminal C, pulled his hood up despite the heat, and tried not to feel like crying. To see what happens when Tom Brady finally walks through those doors, make sure you're subscribed, and don't forget to drop a comment if you've ever been mistaken for someone less than you are. "Johnny, you still there?" The voice came through the phone, warm, easy, familiar. John snapped upright on the curb, fumbling the phone back to his ear. His hand was trembling. "Tom? Yeah, man, sorry, meetings ran long. I'm heading to the gate now. Where are you?" John looked at the automatic doors. Cold, sterile glass. Behind it, air conditioning and silence. In front of it, taxi horns and the sour stink of exhaust. "I'm outside," he said flatly. "They kicked me out." A beat of silence. "What?" "I told the staff I was waiting for you. I didn't have a boarding pass, and they acted like I was some kind of threat." John tried to keep his voice level, but it cracked anyway. "2 security guards escorted me out, like I was loitering, or homeless." Tom sighed. "Jesus, and I'm coming." John hung up before he could say anything else. The shame was hot in his chest. He pulled his hoodie tighter even though sweat dripped down his back. People passed him by without a glance. He was invisible again. It had always been this way, since they were kids. Tom had the arm, the discipline, the confidence. John, he had none of that. He drifted between jobs, cities, apartments, never quite fitting, never quite failing, but never shining either. Even the name Brady, so powerful in sports circles, was a burden he couldn't carry. He didn't hate Tom, he admired him. But standing outside an airport, dismissed like trash, that admiration stung. 15 minutes later, the sliding doors opened, heads turned. There he was. Tom Brady in a grey-fitted jacket and jeans, sunglasses pushed back on his head. He walked fast, face set, cutting through the crowd with practiced ease. People recognized him instantly. A murmur rippled through the sidewalk. Someone raised a phone. "Tommy!" a guy in a Red Sox cap yelled. "You're the man!" Tom didn't look at anyone but John. "Hey," he said, stopping short. "You okay?" John stood slowly, his hoodie stuck to his skin. "I'm fine." "You don't look fine." "I said I'm fine." Tom looked at him for a long second. "Who was it? Which staff?" "Tall guy. Black jacket. TSA badge. Called me a problem. Said I was making people uncomfortable. I wasn't doing a damn thing." Tom clenched his jaw. "Let's go back inside." John hesitated. "What's the point?" Tom turned to him, voice low. "The point is they treated you like dirt. You're my brother. That should mean something." John wanted to believe that, but he knew it didn't. Still, he followed. They walked through the automatic doors, shoulder to shoulder. This time, no one stopped John. The same people who'd ignored him moments ago now stared in open awe. He wasn't just some guy in a hoodie anymore. He was walking beside Tom Brady. They reached the TSA checkpoint. And there he was, Agent Marcus, still standing tall, still scanning the crowd. His eyes landed on John and then shifted to Tom. His face changed instantly. Uncertainty, recognition, then something else, discomfort. "Excuse me," Tom said, stepping forward. "Did you remove this man from the terminal earlier?" Marcus blinked. "Sir, yes, he didn't have credentials. We follow protocol. Do you know who he is?" Marcus looked at John, then back at Tom. "No, sir." Tom gave a tight smile. "He's my brother." Silence. "I'm sorry, Mr. Brady," Marcus said quickly. "I wasn't aware." "That's the problem, isn't it?" Tom cut in. "You treated him like he didn't belong, like he didn't deserve to be here because of how he looks." Marcus straightened. "I was following rules." "No," Tom said. "You were following assumptions." A small crowd had gathered now, travelers slowing down, phones slipping discreetly into video mode. They knew what was happening. It wasn't every day Tom Brady walked into a terminal and started talking like this. Agent Marcus shifted his stance. "Mr. Brady, if there's been a misunderstanding, I'm happy to speak privately." "No," Tom said. "Let's not do it privately. You kicked my brother out in front of everyone. You made a public scene. So, let's keep it public." John stood silently beside him, unsure where to put his hands. He half wished Tom would let it go, half wished he'd speak even louder. "Your job is security," Tom continued. "I respect that. I travel constantly. I see the pressure you all work under. But what you did to my brother, that wasn't about rules. That was judgment, based on what he was wearing, how he looked. You decided he wasn't worth a second chance." Marcus's jaw flexed. "I didn't know he was your brother." "You shouldn't have had to know," Tom shot back. "He's a human being, standing quietly, waiting for family. That's not a crime." A murmur of agreement moved through the bystanders. Buzzcut, the younger guard, stepped forward, clearly unsure of his role now. "Sir, we didn't mean any disrespect." He looked agitated. "That's all." "Agitated," Tom echoed. "How agitated did I look after we lost to the Saints in 21? You see me at Logan that week?" Buzzcut blinked. No, sir." "Right. I was wearing a hoodie, ball cap, same face, way more agitated. But no one laid a hand on me." He turned to the crowd now, voice firm. "Why?" They knew the answer. Because he was Tom Brady. John watched, feeling a strange mix of pride and shame churn in his chest. He appreciated Tom going to bat for him, but part of him hated that it took celebrity for anyone to care. Marcus took a slow breath. "Would you like to file a formal complaint?" Tom leaned in slightly. "What I'd like is for you to apologize to him right here out loud." John shifted uncomfortably. "Tom, it's fine. Let's just—" "No," Tom said. "You shouldn't have to swallow this." Marcus hesitated, then turned to John. His expression was tight, reluctant, but his voice was even. "I apologize, Mr. Brady. For the way I handled the situation earlier, it was wrong of me to make assumptions. I'm sorry." John nodded slowly. "Thanks." It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional, but the words landed. And more importantly, they were heard. Phones were still filming. Social media would be full of it by tonight. The agent's face, the apology, Tom's fury. As the crowd began to disperse and the tension eased, Tom turned to John. "You hungry?" John exhaled a half laugh. "Always." There's a place near the rental car garage. Decent sandwiches. Let's go. They walked out together, the doors sliding shut behind them. For once, the world had seen them side by side. Not just a quarterback and some guy in a hoodie, but brothers, equals, even if it had taken all of this to prove it. The sandwich shop was quiet, tucked behind a glass wall near the rental counters. A few people gave Tom a glance, but no one interrupted. They seemed to know he needed a moment. John picked at the crust of his BLT, barely eating. Tom sat across from him, sipping a green smoothie, not saying much either. For once, there was no spotlight, just fluorescent lights, chipped tiles, and the murmur of faraway travelers. "You didn't have to do all that," John said finally. Tom wiped his mouth with a napkin. "Yeah, I did." John nodded, but didn't look up. "I'm not mad at you," he said. "I'm just tired. Tired of always being the guy they overlook. The guy who gets mistaken for a nobody, or worse." Tom leaned back, letting the words settle. "You ever think maybe people expect too much from you just because of me?" Tom asked. John gave a short, bitter laugh. "All the time. That's the problem, though. They expect I'll be you, and when I'm not, they write me off like I'm nothing." He paused. "Even I started believing it." Tom looked down at his hands. "I never wanted you to feel that way." John shrugged. "You didn't mean to. But your shadow's long, man." They sat in silence for a while. Then Tom said, "Do you remember that Thanksgiving at Mum's? The one where you beat me in horse?" John smirked. "Yeah. You were so pissed you knocked the ball into the neighbor's yard." "Exactly. That was the last time I ever lost to you in anything." John gave him a look. "Thanks?" "No," Tom said. "What I mean is, you've always had something I don't." "Like what?" "Room to screw up, to start over, to be real. My life's been scheduled and scrutinized for 20 years. You've had the freedom to mess up, disappear, reinvent." John raised an eyebrow. "That's freedom. In a way. I don't know who I am without football." You're figuring it out. That takes guts." John didn't say anything, just stared at the half-eaten sandwich. "You ever think about coming to Tampa?" Tom asked. John blinked. "To live?" "Yeah. I got space. Guest house out back. Privacy. Peace. No one would hassle you. You could breathe a little." John leaned back. "What would I even do there?" Tom smiled. "Whatever the hell you want." John looked out the window. A family with roller bags shuffled past, the dad pointing toward a shuttle bus. He thought about the life he'd built. Scattered jobs, late rent, second-hand furniture. Pride had kept him from asking for help, but maybe pride had also kept him stuck. "You sure you want your loser brother crashing in your backyard?" he asked. Tom leaned in. "You're not a loser. You're just a Brady who doesn't wear a ring. That doesn't mean you're any less family." John stared at him, and for the first time in a long time, he believed it. 3 months later, the airport felt different. John adjusted the collar of his new polo shirt and stepped through the employee entrance at Tampa International, not as a passenger, not as baggage, but as staff. His name badge read J. Brady, Guest Services, and he still couldn't quite believe it. It had been Tom's idea. "You like airports," he'd joked. "Might as well get paid to be in one." But really, it was about more than the job. It was about reclaiming a space that had always rejected him. He helped families find gates, helped veterans navigate security, helped kids spot planes through high glass windows. And every so often, someone would glance at the name on his chest and ask, "Brady, any relation?" "Yeah," he'd say with a smile. "He's my brother." And it wasn't painful to admit anymore. Today was different, though. Today, Tom was flying in. John waited at gate F7 with a small crew of airport staff, all whispering behind their hands. "You think he'll stop and talk? Bet he's got security. I hope he signs something, my kid's obsessed." John just smiled. When Tom stepped off the jet bridge, the reaction was instant. Applause, camera flashes, passengers pulling out phones. But Tom walked past all of it, straight toward John. "Hey," Tom said, gripping his shoulder. "Nice shirt." John smirked. "Fits better than a TSA uniform." They hugged briefly, and it felt easy this time. No tension, no weight. Just two brothers in an airport on the same level at last. As Tom turned to leave, a voice behind them called out, "Sir! Excuse me, sir!" It was an older woman, frazzled, holding 2 boarding passes and a toddler by the hand. John turned immediately. "Can I help you? We're trying to find our connection, Delta to Cleveland. I think we missed the gate and they said something about a rebooking counter and I..." John smiled. "You're fine. Come with me." We'll take the elevator down and get you rebooked in 5 minutes. Relieved, the woman followed. Tom stood a few feet away, watching. And in that moment, he saw what no one else ever had. John was in his element, helping people, leading quietly. No cameras, no headlines, just being seen, finally, for who he really was. As the woman thanked him and disappeared down the hall, John turned back. Tom was still there, a proud look in his eyes. "You good?" Tom asked. "I'm good," John said. "Really," and he meant it. If this story moved you even a little, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to tap the video on screen next. It was picked just for you. And trust me, you're going to love it.